Hey, what up, y'all? Welcome back to the Black Owned Podcast. It's your boy AD with my co-host Leo. And we have our special guest, Bab, who's returning again. And we have our second special guest, which is Pastor. And we came in today who had what's his name? Pep Hamilton. I almost forgot the man's name. Pep Hamilton. Offensive coordinator spoke today along with Lovie Smith. And we want to talk about the offense today and this offensive scheme and what to expect for the Texans in 2022, as well as what Pep Hamilton's offense is specifically going to be. I'm gonna let you guys take over and lead it off. Leo, you want to start?
Yeah. So I guess pretty much everything he said today was kind of vague. We know that there is going to be an emphasis on offensive linemen. One of the most interesting things I think I've heard a coach say, just refer to offensive linemen as playmakers. A lot of times people kind of just act like, these linemen are just fat guys on the field, like they just take up space, but to hear a coach refer to an offensive lineman as a playmaker is a big deal to me. So we know that there's going to be emphasis on running the ball, and I'm guessing since there's going to be emphasis on running the ball, we know that there's going to be play action coming with it too. So I'm looking for us to be like just a more physical team, probably, really, really more physical than we've been in the last 5 years, man. What you think, Pastor?
Yeah, I think that's true, man. And that's on both sides of the ball too, man. Like I think that our coaching staff across the board want to be more physical, and that is shown and translated down to every position group and position coach. So yeah, absolutely. I think that Pep leads us to a more physical and run dominant football team. I think that we get better in that position. I think that also what I'm looking forward to see is like the average yards per carry actually go up. You know what I'm saying? That's something that like it really bothers me when you see 2.1, 2.2. My oldest brother, man, shout out to Larry, man. He used to always tell me in Madden, bro, if you can get 3 yards a carry, you can win the football game. And it's just true, bro. If you get 3 yards, you're really set up to win. So if we can find a way to get in that 4 range, man, and be productive, I think that our team would be much more productive. I think our alignment would be much more happy, and we'll have a much more dominant physical run game. So that's part one of like the foundation for our success.
Right.
Yeah, and I look at it right now, just looking up the stats. I mean, we didn't even average four yards a carry. It was like 3.4, which is something that, even back to the Bill O'Brien days, is that they had a lot of volume running, but we never as a team averaged over 4 yards, averaged at least 4 yards to carry. So,
yeah. That says something, AD, because we ran the ball a lot this year, and to be at 3, we're at 3 something or 4 something?
3.4 yards a carry.
3.4, and that's it should have been higher. You know what I'm saying? Considering how many bad runs we had this year.
Just the so sheer volume.
We had sheer volume. You're all right. Yeah, you're right.
So, what are your thoughts, Bab?
First of all, I guess my biggest takeaway from his press conference was his comments on Davis Mills. I really liked that he came out and was very straightforward about what Mills needs to improve on, right? He didn't say deep ball accuracy, right? So that was a little encouraging, right? But I think more to elaborate on the concepts and style that he's wanting to run with the power run scheme. It's kind of funny that we're talking about the run so much when last year he was the quarterbacks coach and the passing game coordinator, but now we're hoping this guy to come in and improve our run game. Yeah, and so like, what a knock on Tim Kelly, right?
Right.
But it's really encouraging. I think if anyone has familiarity with George Warhop, Pep seems to really be on the same page with George Warhop in a sense of like what they look for in a player and how they decide to build a scheme. So the continuity and the familiarity is like what Pep was saying in the press conference. They seem to be really in alignment. So that's encouraging to hear different voices saying the same stuff.
Yeah, I just want to add to what Bab was saying about the Davis Mills situation. There's a quote from him when people ask about like what his particular style mean, what's his offensive philosophy, he wants to meet the players where they are. I think you guys all heard that before, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why Davis Mills was able to have the success that he had this year. And also moving forward, I think we can kind of find continuity is the word we're going to use, right?
Right.
Continuity in what we're looking at already. The red zone is something that we thrived at on offense, and we can appreciate that. And we can say, okay, we know that they have a plan in the red zone and they can win there. So one, how do we get better there? And two, how do we get there more often, right? So I think that when we look at Pep Hamilton and what he already brings to the table, we know that he's going to hone in on that and make that better while also bringing in more talent and allowing that to flourish, correct?
Mm-hmm.
There's three players that fit that. One is already on the team, Davis Mills, one of the top in red zone, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's already set. When I went to look at is it Haskins, Hassan Haskins, how you say his last name?
Yeah.
You said it
So
right.
I did not like his tape, but what I did see was productivity. I know, Bab. I saw productivity in the red zone, though. That's where I saw a lot of where his vision came into play. I saw a lot of his physicalness come into play, and I saw a lot of consistency there, like I said before. So even though he was a one-hit wonder for me, he only had one 1,000-yard season.
Mm-hmm.
He had a very, very terrible game against Georgia. Okay. And also I don't think his receiving hands are just there yet. That comes usually later in the pros anyway for running back. So I can give him some time on that. But I did see for a 6'1", 220 guy, I did see the ability to kind of squeeze through gaps, jump over people, kind of like find his way, use his vision and such. And I thought that was a good fit. And then as far as mentality-wise is concerned, I thought that Pickens also helped there as well in finding another red zone target opposite of Nico Collins and make sure we solidify that. Now, I don't think Pickens, although the personality is there and the physicality is there, I don't think that there was I don't know how to put this. I don't think he was very productive as far as TDs are concerned. He had 8 and 6, respectfully, from his freshman and sophomore year. But I do think that his size and the willingness to go get the ball is also there. And there are other players that fit, like the tight end, Jelani.
Oh, you talking about Williams? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Jelani, he catches with his hands, big 6'7" target, I think those fit. We already have a Brevin Jordan. So when we talk about red zone, let's find one or two more pieces to get better there. I think that, when you talk about meeting players where they're at, I think we can find a way to do that by continuing what we're good at. And again, they're already trying to address the run game, which gets us down the field in the first place. So when we talk about expectations, I just kind of want to bring it back there as well, while also understanding, like, how does Davis Mills fit into our current plan? They want him to be more professional. He said that in the presentation right earlier. He said that he has to be more consistent. Well, that's his opportunity. Protect the run game, make sure we're executing things properly. And then when we get to the red zone, make sure we convert red zone opportunities to touchdowns, keep that ratio high. And as long as that stays consistent, our football team will be productive, again, as we said earlier, year in, year out. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
man. I mean, and one thing I want to definitely hit on too is, like, I feel like people feel like you have to have this super high-powered, high-scoring offense. You
don't, right.
When we look at these teams like, Kansas City and like the Rams and, teams like that, it's like, I mean, people kind of just ignore the fact, that, the first part of having a good offense is just being able to stay on the field.
Well, Leo, like, power run is, and this is what I wanted you guys to say earlier, power run is playoff football. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right? That's what the Rams and the Bengals did to try to compete against each other. They slowed the game down. They ran out the clock. They didn't want to go nail for nail. They didn't want to risk it in the air. And that's a good point. When you talk about, time of possession, I mean, God damn it, that's how Cully won a lot of his games. You know what I'm saying? With COP. So given that, that fact, I mean, New England's, they do it a lot when they want to win certain games, when they know they can't outshoot certain people. Bro, it just makes sense. When you have a turnover machine defense and a offense that can control the time of possession, bro, that's a winning formula. And that's why I'm, like, more optimistic about this team than any other team I've ever seen for the Texans. I know we get into that debate all the time on Twitter, but like, that's like a legitimate point. So I agree with you, Leo. That is a very good point. COP.
Yeah. It still works, man. I mean, I mean, I think Bill Belichick said, you know, the first thing an offense has to do is just convert third downs, pick up the blitz, and like it was like 4 things. I can't remember all off the top of, but the last thing was actually score points. The last thing was score points.
Right.
You know, so like, yeah, I mean, just being efficient and just giving your like if we're gonna be a defensive type of team, you have to be able to give them time to rest.
I mean, imagine what they did great. I'm gonna say great. They did good with a lack of TOP at times. You know what I'm saying? So giving them more. And I mean, hell, to be honest with you, if we go back and watch full football games of the Texans secondary, they held up a lot for most of the game a lot last year, up until the point they got tired. You know what I'm saying? And I thought that was a good point. Like, bro, give these people more rest, give them more time on the bench, and I promise you it leads to a better defense. I mean, that's how defenses, like, their stats stay good in the first place, you know?
Exactly.
And just we were talking about turnovers with the defense and the defense being a turnover machine. The thing with the power run game with Pep is that you're going to limit the turnovers as far as with Davis Mills because the ball is not going to be in his hand as much. You're going to, you know, basically he threw 12 interceptions last year as a rookie.
I was just going to say, is that still a concern, AD? Because, I mean, you can count 12 in the season, but it's at least 45 about what we heard from practice squad, what we heard from preseason.
According to Texans Twitter, he threw about 50.
50 or more.
You know, but you know, just to kind of limit the turnovers and put the ball in the running back's hand and kind of take away that pressure from Davis Mills to try to make the spectacular throw all the time to try to win the game. Let him be efficient, let him be productive, and let him just kind of simplify it. You know, if anything, simplify the game for him to make the team productive. And, you know.
Can I say this too, AD? I mean, bro, you're using all the words. I mean, as I'm looking deeper and deeper to Pep, bro, and I'm like, bro, what are people saying about Pep, fam? What is Jim Harbaugh? What you said is exactly what he said. Boy said he's calm, he's precise, he's detail-oriented and correct. Like, you need that as a coach just for your quarterback to be successful, right? Harbaugh, and I just want to put this point out there, went as far, this is in 2017, went as far as to say that Pep Hamilton is one of the best coaches in football. That's not in college, that's not NFL, that's all of football. And I thought it showed, you know what I'm saying? And if I can add this one last point too, because I want to get this off my chest, it's been itching me, because I guess people ain't reading this or seeing this. The NFL obviously is in love with guys who can groom a young quarterback. This is from Pick a Side on YouTube. I watched some of what they said as well. And they went over some quarterbacks that had success under Pep Hamilton. One we forget about was Rex Grossman in the Super Bowl, right? Chad Henne had a great career. Andrew Luck, right? Justin Herbert, Davis Mills himself. And also, we always forget about his own son as well, who's going to be a good quarterback moving forward. Man, we've dogged
prospect right now.
Right. We've dogged Pep. But when we do more and more research, a lot of what we see is like a very consistent and even-keeled guy who helps produce quarterbacks. I mean, I don't understand why, you know, when you ask a question like, you know, why are we putting so much, you know, emphasis on the run game and why we hope that he'll bring a change there. He said it. That's what he wants to do it. And if they're telling me a calm, collected, even-keeled, detailed-oriented guy is wanting to do that, bro, I'm all in, you know?